Hello, my name is Kirsten Schnell. I'm a 4th grade teacher in Northern Colorado, and this is the Crazy Cat Classroom. So this week's going to be a little bit different. So I am going to vlog my experience this week. Now this week I particularly chose to vlog because I am going to fly out to Washington State for the 4th of July. My dad has some property on the beach, and so my husband and I are going to fly out and meet with them. And so today is Tuesday, June 30th, so we fly out tomorrow, July 1st, and let's just say for future generations who are watching this, flying out in the middle of a pandemic is interesting, to say the least. So our flight was booked back in December. We have been planning this family vacation for a really long time, and it kept on changing and changing and changing, and then finally on Monday the 22nd, I noticed that there were 2 flights through the airlines that I booked that were leaving from Denver to Seattle. So I called the airlines and they got me moved to the earlier flight just because I prefer to fly out earlier. I'm a morning person, so I'd rather just get stuff done in the morning and get to where I'm going. That's just my preference. And so I'd rather wake up early and leave early than wait till the afternoon. So I got on the earlier flight, my husband and I, and everything was fine. And then I go in to check in this morning because, right, you can check in 24 hours in advance, and we aren't checking any bags. We're doing all carry-on. So it's just nice to have the tickets and then you can go straight to security. So I go in to book or to check in, and it won't let me check in. And I thought that was weird because I've never experienced that in my life of flying, and I've flown a lot. So I contact the airlines and they're like, oh, well, we don't have you or your husband anywhere on our flights for tomorrow. I had a panic attack. I said, well, I need to be in Seattle tomorrow and you need to figure out a way to get me there. And they said, sorry, ma'am, we don't have anything. And utter panic set in. So I call my dad, obviously freaking out, and being the man that he is, he was wise enough to say, well, Kirsten, like, is there a chance that they moved you back to the 4:30 flight? I said, I didn't consider that, but the person that I talked to said that we were nowhere on their system as far as flying out tomorrow. And then I went back and I was talking to a new person at the airlines that we originally were planning on flying out. And that person said, oh, well, that flight at 7:15 was canceled, but we have moved you to the flight that leaves at 4:25. I was just appalled. And so I mentioned to this person that I was talking to, well, literally in sheer panic that I wouldn't be able to go to Seattle tomorrow, I purchased through a different airline company. And I am really upset that when talking to the person I talked to before you, they communicated to me that we were not in your system at all. And so I would like to be compensated for literally having a panic attack. I mean, I didn't say it in those words, but they were very, very nice. The person I talked to was very nice. He moved us into nicer seats, and so my husband and I will just be sitting in a row by ourselves, which will be nice. And he gave us a coupon essentially so that we would fly with them again in the future. So all that being said, I have never experienced in my life of flying where there is only one flight from Denver to Seattle. That is crazy to me that this airlines, that's a really big airline, particularly from Seattle, only has one flight from Denver to Seattle. So I guess in all of this being said, if you are planning on flying anywhere when there is a global pandemic, I highly suggest you to be flexible and to try to remain calm. It's so funny because if any of my middle schoolers are watching this, they should have said, Mrs. Schnell, is this a big deal or a little deal? At the time, it felt like a very, very big deal, you guys. But in reflection, it was a little deal because I would have figured out a way to get to Seattle. If I had to drive, I would drive. If I had to find another flight, I would find another flight. There would have been a way to get to Seattle. So all this reflection has made me realize, sometimes, particularly in a global pandemic, we really need to reflect on what are big deals and what are little deals and try to remain positive. Hi, you guys. So today is Wednesday, July 1st. I am out here on my patio enjoying the sun. And we're just waiting until our flight leaves. So that's one thing I don't like about later flights is the waiting, and I get anxious and I just want to get to the airport and get done go through security and all that jazz. So I have to be patient. But I wanted to show you what I'm wearing because when we leave Colorado, it's going to be close to 90 degrees. And when we get to Washington, it's going to be like 65. So quite the temperature difference. I'm wearing this yellow long sleeve shirt that's kind of lightweight. I am packing a vest to go over it when we get into Seattle. I have these really cute earrings that I got off of Etsy. And then I'm wearing some long black pants and sandals because at the airport you want nice shoes that you can just slip on and off. So that's what I'm wearing, and I want to show you guys my garden. I know that a lot of teacher YouTubers who have apartments have little gardens, and mine gets primarily watered by the sprinkler system. Because I'm not very good at remembering to water my plants, or harvesting them. But I do enjoy growing things. So I wanted to show you what I have growing so far. Strawberry plant died because the sprinklers didn't get to it. So I'm planning on planting this celery right here into that pot when I get back. This is my squash, and it's growing beautifully, my summer squash. These are my cucumbers, and I need to string them up, but they're doing pretty good. This was lavender. Again, I didn't repot it in time, so not with my issue. My goal is to create this into a planter, but I need to be diligent in covering it with plastic bags like I did with this one, and then getting more soil. So right now it's just a storage container. We have some sweet peppers here. I like sweet peppers just because I actually eat bell peppers and sweet peppers, and versus jalapenos I don't. And you can see they're about to bloom. We have some basil here. It's growing really, really tall and beautiful. And there's a lovely, do you guys see the grasshopper or cricket? And then here's my tomato plant. There's one tomato already. Basil and tomatoes are, I've read that they really help each other grow well. And this is the second year I've planted my basil right next to my tomato plant in the same pot, and it's the second year that they've been really growing well together, so that's awesome. And then here's some cilantro. I had to cut off some because they were starting to almost flower, and you don't want them to flower, so if I remember correctly. So yeah, so the next time I'll check in with you guys will be at the airport. I probably won't talk a whole lot just because I don't know the regulations on filming and whatnot, and I don't want to get in trouble, particularly at the airport. So I'll see you then. All right, you guys, so I am going through security like there is no line whatsoever. All right, we arrived at 2 o'clock, a little bit after 2, we parked, and already 2:27 and we're through security. Quickest ever through an airport. Okay, so Josh and I got through security, got here in less than 30 minutes, and we're sitting at our gate. He's not very happy that we're here that early. And when does our flight leave? 4. So after about an hour and a half of waiting time, we have boarded the plane. It's very nice and air conditioned. And yeah, we're heading to Seattle. So we made it to Seattle in one piece. But just like the DIA, it is completely dead. Hi, so today is Wednesday. No, yesterday was Wednesday. Thursday, July 2nd. Sorry, I have this dog who wants some attention. Let me show you. This is my mom's dog, Gigi. And you would think that she would want you to play fetch, but when you try to get the ball from her, she won't let you. Anywho's, so we made it to Seattle area, and so my family doesn't live in Seattle, they live outside of Seattle. We got here last night. We went to a restaurant and had some clams and had some pizza. I'm gluten-free and dairy-free, but sometimes I indulge on cheese because cheese is good. And so I did indulge on some cheese last night. It's pretty chilly. You can see I'm wearing a sweatshirt and my vest. I'm definitely not used to this cooler weather. I'm also having like very bad sinus pressure. I'm hoping it's because I'm tired or because I have allergies. So that's my hope with all this sinus pressure. Or it might be a caffeine headache because I like caffeine. So my sister's going to be here any minute to pick up my husband and I. And we are going to go down to the Oregon and Washington border. And we're going to go camping at the ocean. So I'm very excited because Josh and I have never been camping as a couple for this long of time. Like we've done like weekend things, but never like week-long things. And they're always pretty short. So this will be exciting. And yeah, I'll check in with you guys later. Hi you guys, today is Friday, July 3rd, and I just went for a 2-mile run. I usually try to do at least 2 miles 3 times a week. Running just really helps with my stress level and my anxiety when it kind of goes crazy, and it's just been a really healthy way to release that stress, particularly when it comes to teaching or just life in general. It's very windy here, but it feels so nice after a long run. And in typical Northwestern style, there are clouds galore. However, there is blue sky on the horizon, and I'm going to switch the camera so you guys can enjoy the Pacific Ocean for a little while. All right, so I'm heading back to our camp. Oh wow! Do you guys see that? It's an eagle. All right, so I'm heading back to our camp. I love the beach and the ocean. I know that sounds funny since I moved from somewhere where there's plenty of ocean to Colorado, where there's not. But I do love the ocean. I miss it. That's like one of the big things I miss. So I'm heading back to the camp. What's really great is that there's tons of wildlife, like you saw the eagle. Here, let me adjust my camera. There's tons of wildlife like the eagle, and we get like deer walking through the camp. My dad has seen bears, which is not as, those are things I do not want to see. Maybe from far away, but not up close. So I'm going to like walk this little trail, and my arm's getting exhausted. Ooh, how do people do this? They have a selfie stick. That's how they do this. Okay, sorry. Really lovely image of me trying to stuff my earbuds in my pocket. Okay, so that's the ocean behind me, and I'm walking through the sand dunes to our campsite. We got here yesterday and just kind of relaxed and sat around the fire. But today I wanted to make sure I get down to the ocean. Something about just being a 4th grade teacher is the fact that you study state history. And when I was in 4th grade, I loved Washington state history. I loved learning about particularly Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea and their expedition to the Washington and Oregon coast. And I was always so fascinated with my state's history. Given when I got older, I got interested in different types of history as well. And so one thing I love about being a 4th grade teacher is I can find really interesting facts about Colorado and really interesting information, and try to, sorry, I also have gum in my mouth, so, and try to kind of foster that love of social studies and history that I had when I was their age. Also, I'm very like sniffly because of my run, so, and a little bit out of breath. But that's one thing that I just love about the state that I grew up in, and the fact that I teach 4th grade is fostering love for learning. Also, I wanted to let you guys all know that I finished one PD book, and I'm reading another one. The one that I finished is called Cultural Eyes. And I heard about this book through Fantastic Fourth. she is a 4th grade teacher in Colorado. So I think that that's really cool. I have messaged her to ask if I can come do like a observation, because she does a lot of like metacognition teaching. And so I finished the book about culturalization, which was awesome. It's all about building relationships and making sure that you have a positive culture in your classroom. But the book that she recommends for learning about cognitive dissonance and like metacognition and recalling information is called Powerful Learning. Whew, I'm really out of breath. Sorry, you guys. And so I'm currently reading that one now. I started it on the plane and I'm already like in finished with chapter 2, which I know that doesn't sound like it's a lot, but for someone with dyslexia, it's a lot. And since it's an informational book, it's a lot. So, anywho's, I am going to flip around the camera so that you guys can enjoy the rest of this lovely book. Today's Monday, July 6th. It's our last full day here in Washington. We fly out of Portland, PDX tomorrow. I'll film some in the airport, but yeah, the clouds are rolling in behind me. So here we are at the DIA airport. DIA. So here we are at PDX airport waiting to board. We got here around 11, currently 11:24. We've been sitting at our gate for about 10-ish minutes. Security was fine. We both had to use the restroom though before we went through security. And yeah, it's about an hour and a half until we board our flight. So we're just chillaxing, waiting. I am writing in my planner. Josh is watching some videos on his phone, getting ready to go home. Excited to go home to see Leo, and just to be in the nice Colorado sun. But I also know that it's really sad to leave Washington and my family. So I'll check in with you when we get to Colorado. Hi you guys, I just wanted to hop on here. We made it home. Well, today is Thursday, July 9th, and we made it home. The Portland airport did get busier while we were there. Our flight into Denver was great. I don't know why, but it's always coming into Denver. The turbulence is worse than going out. And yeah, it's nice to be home. I I realize that my vlog isn't typical to YouTubers' vlogs, but I did bring you along with me. It was a little difficult with being around family and wanting to respect their privacy. But overall, my husband and I had a really great trip. One thing that I wanted to talk to you all about was like in the airport, and how I always have gotten really anxious about flying, and not because I'm afraid of flying by any means, but just the anxiety I get for being late to things, because I'm a very on time person. And so it was pretty comforting knowing that even if we were an hour late, we would have still gotten through security within 30 minutes, to our gate. Yeah, and so the whole mask thing, neither my husband nor I had an issue with it at DIA or SeaTac Airport, but in Portland, it was just getting really suffocating, and I don't know if it was air quality, but definitely could feel a little constricted in wearing the mask. It's really interesting because you can take it off if you eat or drink. So there were times where I would purposely drink my water bottle, not necessarily because I needed a drink of water, but because the air quality, I don't know if it was the air quality or what, but something, I was just having a hard time breathing with my mask. As far as being on the airplane, wearing the mask was fine. So there are certain things where it's kind of comforting knowing that most people are taking this seriously. Most people are understanding that masks do help, at least a little bit, to just block particles, So in that essence of things, I would be fine to continue wearing the mask to the airport if that is required. However, I also know that it was interesting. I am planning on going on another trip at the end of July, so we'll see how things change or if they change. One thing, my husband and I like to take the shuttle down to the airport so we don't have to leave our car, and it's a hair bit cheaper. And so we couldn't do that because of the pandemic, and so we drove, which was fine. But yeah, so it's just nice to be home. I do appreciate the time I had with my family. As you can see from my videos, we had lots of fun and there was lots to do. But overall, I am excited for this coming week. I have a couple of things that I need to do this coming week, which is exciting. The first thing I need to do is on Monday, I need to take my Girls on the Run bag, because I help coach Girls on the Run, to turn it in. And then the second thing is on Tuesday, I am going to a customer appreciation day at our local teacher store. We don't have a Lakeshore Learning close to Northern Colorado, so I go to this place called Knowledge Bound, which is a teacher store, and it's local, which is awesome. I have a link down in my description box if you feel compelled to donate to my future classroom, and one of them is for Amazon, but the other link is for Knowledge Bound, just because I think it's important to, to support local businesses. And yeah, I've started reading Power Teaching, and it talks about metacognition and recalling information and pulling it out of your brains, and I'm really excited to incorporate the things that I've learned through that into my teaching this year, particularly in the areas of remote learning and hybrid learning. And one thing that sorry, there's a dog. One thing that I have been really reflecting on is, yes, this hybrid teaching is going to be different. This year is going to just be different, just like how last year was different, right? And so, one, I think it's so important to stay positive in your thinking, because you can get really bogged down on, well, this isn't how it is. And change can be hard, but also change can be really, really great. And so one thing that I want us to really think about as teachers is, in the book Powerful Teaching, it talks about the importance of transferring your knowledge or what you're learning to real world applications. And I was talking with my team earlier in May about how if we are to do a hybrid teaching, or if we are to teach new content outside of our classroom, or if kids can't share things, what have you, how are we going to teach science? Because science is very hands-on. Science is very applicable to the world around us. And I told them how amazing it is that we have this opportunity, that students can take our science standards and apply them to at-home situations. And so even if they live in an apartment like I do, there is a park they could go to, or there are outdoor areas that they can explore. And one of our main standards for science is life science, and how awesome if they could go on a nature hunt and bring in like leaves or plants that they find. Just really honing in this time to think outside of the box of our typical industrial way of teaching, and really prepare our students for the world that they are embarking into, because the world that they're embarking into is very different than what we all had expected, right? So just this ability that hybrid learning will be able to give students the ability to transfer their learning from outside the classroom to the real world, and how amazing that opportunity is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. It was my first, and I feel like I didn't do a great job, but I feel that overall it was fun, and I was able to share with you a little bit of my life, especially with being a Pacific Northwestern girl living in a Colorado world. So that's it for me. Remember that when you believe in yourself, you can change the world. See ya!